Chapter 61 I don't know what Brother Li's ambitions are. You are listening at novelfull.audio. He tossed a bag over, saying, here's a bag of magic stones. Should clear up any doubts, right? Magic stones, Li Mufan was taken aback. These were rare items used by mages to replenish their power, worth 1,000 gold coins apiece. And this heavy bag had at least 50. All right. In that case, let's do as you say, the young man grinned. He moved so fast it was a blur. A tiny hole appeared in the ape's forehead, and in the blink of an eye, the guy had snatched the magic crystal. Li Mufan barely saw it happen. Serious strength, they say there are realms beyond body refinement. Li Mufan figured this guy had to be at the peak of body refinement or even into the psychic realm. Having done the deed, the young man glanced around, smiling. You've got some interesting stuff on this boat. Where are you headed, brother? Heard there's an auction in Chaos City. Thought I'd check it out. Oh. We're heading to Chaos City too. How about we travel together? Li Mufan frowned. These two were strangers with serious power. He didn't want to get mixed up with them, but a flat-out rejection would definitely raise suspicion. He forced a laugh. Sounds great. With your strength, we won't have to worry about monster attacks along the way. Half a day later, on deck, Li Mufan was chatting with the young man in white, while the girl dressed as a man stood quietly at the bow, lost in thought. He learned that the young man's name was Lu Qin, and the girl dressed as a man was his sister, Lu Qinhuan. They weren't from Yunzhou but came from Zhongzhou. According to him, Zhongzhou was the heart of the entire Tianhan continent, rich in resources, full of talented people, and incredibly vast. Yunzhou, on the other hand, was an island in the south, separated from Zhongzhou by a massive ocean. Unless you had a flying ship, it was nearly impossible to cross because of all the monsters. The young man was a chatterbox, and Li Mufan wasn't exactly quiet himself. Before long, they were swapping stories about human history, the ongoing war in Yunzhou, and the best ways to run a country. After just half a day, they were practically brothers from another mother. So, Li, have you ever heard of the 10 ancient clans? Li Mufan blinked. He shook his head. Lu Qin smiled. I read something in an old book once. It said that in ancient times, 10 races rose up and challenged the gods themselves. They overthrew the temples and created an amazing civilization. But, for some reason, they all declined. Some disappeared completely, and the rest are shadows of their former selves, unable to regain their glory. Really? You're saying the gods could be overthrown? Li Mufan knew that the gods were the most powerful race on the Tianhan continent with long lifespans and strength, holding control over creatures of all races. The young man gazed up at the sky. Yeah, well, those heroes are all dead and gone. Now, everyone only knows the temples and has forgotten the glory of the 10 ancient clans. Lu, is our human race one of those clans? Lu Qin sighed but didn't answer. Li Mufan took the hint and didn't push it. After a long silence, Lu Qin finally said, Li, you're a lord. What are your ambitions? Chapter 62 Arrival at the City of Chaos. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Li Mufan just stared, then cracked up. He was laughing so hard he nearly fell over. Lu Qinhuan glanced over, her eyes bright, while Lu Qin looked on in surprise. Li Mufan grinned and asked, so, what do you think of the lake, brother Lu? Lu Qin seemed taken aback. It's beautiful, he replied. Li Mufan pointed towards the distant green mountains. And those mountains? Pretty majestic. Li Mufan nodded, then gazed at the blue sky, booming, epic scenery, just epic. Lu Qin frowned, then realization dawned. He threw back his head and roared with laughter. You're right. Absolutely epic. What a view. Lu Qinhuan listened to them, a glint appearing in her cool eyes. The next day, explosions rocked the Yinsang River. Staring at a bizarre fish floating belly up, Lu Qin said in astonishment, your mortar packs a punch, Li. Everyone else is scared of the monsters, but you're going after the water-dwelling ones. The two were getting along well. Li Mufan chuckled and said, with you and the fairy backing me up, I can be a little more daring. Otherwise, I'd be running for my life. And so, they continued south along the Yinsong River. Monsters proved no match for them. After 10 days, a huge city came into view, Chaos City, at last. The ironclad ship was a bit conspicuous, so Li Mufan decided to dock it in a secluded spot and head ashore. Looking at the cargo piled on the deck, Li Mufan was about to ask everyone to help unload when Lu Chen handed him a talisman. We've had some good talks these past few days, Li, consider us friends. This is a one-time use storage talisman crafted by a weapon specialist. It's yours. My sister and I have some business to take care of, so we'll be going. Li Mufan didn't hesitate. He accepted the talisman, cupped his hands, and said, since you're busy, Brother Lu, let's meet up in the city later. Oh, and how does this thing work? Lu Chen smiled and shook his head, then explained how to use the talisman, said his goodbyes, and vanished in a few bounds. Xuanhuan offered a slight nod as acknowledgement, then transformed into a white streak and disappeared. What the? Lu Chen at least took a few steps as he left. Xuanhuan, though, turned into light and flew off. Her cultivation was beyond anything Li Mufan could comprehend. Is that girl secretly some ancient spirit realm monster? After a moment of stunned silence, Li Mufan stowed the cargo using the talisman and yelled, Hunter team, let's go ashore. Navy, stand by. Yes, sir. Chaos City, the city covered a vast area. Its location made it as prosperous as Sun and Moon King City. The current lord of the city was a tiger tribe member named Li Feiyan. The tiger tribe was considered a Xian-level race. It was rumored that Li Feiyan's strength had reached the peak of the body refinement realm, making him one of the top figures in Yunzhou. Even the Earth-level Sky Fox clan wouldn't provoke him lightly. That was the main reason why Chaos City was so prosperous, but had never been conquered. But Li Feiyan was too absorbed in cultivation to care about the city's affairs, so Chaos City had been plagued by infighting among different powers. Legend had it that an ancient demon lay sealed beneath Chaos City, slain by gods in ancient times. But the legend was so old that it couldn't be verified. Despite centuries of warfare in the area, there had never been any sign of demonic activity. Chapter 63, A fight breaks out when there is a disagreement. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Outside the city, Li Mufan strolled down the main road, lost in thought as he took in the scenery. Suddenly, a gruff voice snapped him back to reality. Hold it right there. What do you think you're doing? Don't you know the drill? Li Mufan blinked, surprised. He glanced at the hulking figure wielding a massive blade in front of him. What drill? He asked. What drill? Just look around. He scanned the area. Pig-faced brutes, all of the same behemoth clan, were shaking down travelers for tolls. Everyone looked scared, paying up without complaint, so, it was about tolls. How much? He asked, already annoyed. 10 gold coins. Not a copper less if you want to get into the city. 10 gold coins. But I saw others paying only 1. The behemoth sneered. Other races pay 1. But you humans? You're pure evil. So, you pay 10 times as much. A light bulb went off in Li Mufan's head. He remembered the Yunqin Empire's bloody attack on the Iron Wolf clan a couple of weeks ago. The Behemoth clan and the Iron Wolf clan were tight, and they'd sent troops to help, only to be ambushed and slaughtered. Word was, a force of 50,000 was wiped out. No wonder they were so bitter. Li Mufan smiled, a touch of steel in his eyes. 10 gold coins. I won't pay a single one. What do you say to that? A blatant challenge. The behemoth was stunned. As the biggest muscle outside Chaos City, they'd always squeezed humans for tolls. Humans being weak and easy to push around was practically gospel, but then the Yunqin Empire came out swinging, and everyone's power dynamic was off-kilter. This inflated human toll, 10 times the usual, was a coordinated effort to knock the humans down a peg. Sure, the previous human caravans grumbled, but they coughed up the money. This time, they'd run into a brick wall. Human, you might not understand your position. I suggest you think real hard before you speak again. Li Mufan didn't respond, his face calm, the tension in the air was thick enough to cut with a knife. What's going on here? Who's refusing to pay the toll? That a booming roar echoed from nearby. A towering behemoth leader, clad in armor and brandishing a massive blade, stomped toward them. He glared at Li Mufan. Human, what's your game? Let me spell it out for you, this is chaos territory, not Yunqin. The toll is 10 gold coins, no exceptions. Say no again, and I'll chop you in half. Li Mufan was past the point of patience. Enough with the chatter. He roared. Kill, with that, his blade flashed, and the behemoth who'd been yelling at him dropped to the ground. A quick backhand swing, and another behemoth joined him in death. Everyone on the road froze, stunned by the sudden violence. This human was a straight-up savage, hacking away at people over a disagreement. Murder. He's killing people. He killed the commander's son. The human is. A behemoth screamed, but a crossbow bolt, shimmering with cold steel, pierced his throat before he could finish. The remaining behemoths finally snapped to their senses, roaring and charging, but Li Mufan's hunters reacted faster. The thwack of crossbows filled the air as a dozen behemoths dropped dead instantly. Without needing orders, the hunters reloaded with practiced efficiency, and within seconds, another volley of bolts flew. Ack! Screams erupted as another wave of charging behemoths went down. Chapter 64. Hey! I'm also going to rob. You are listening at novelfull.audio. But the behemoths were closing in fast. Their nightmare was just beginning. The hunters switched from crossbows to dual daggers and engaged in close combat. They weren't fancy, but they were effective, agile, strong, and well-trained. The fight was short and brutal. One by one, the behemoths fell. Watching from a distance, the lord of Kanglan City and his entourage were stunned. A member of the Red Fox tribe commented, "My lord, there's something off about those humans." Oh. Elaborate. Look at their crossbows. They fire 3 shots in rapid succession. I've never seen anything like it. And their swordsmanship, every strike targets a vital point. They've clearly had intense training. With decent weapons and armor, even just 20 of them could probably wipe out half a battalion. The city lord nodded. It's true. Humans excel at trickery and weapon innovation. Even my 500 best troops might struggle against them. Do we know who they're with? His attendant frowned and shook his head. I don't recognize their armor, but they all bear the symbol. A little digging should reveal their origin. Very well. Find out where these humans come from. And if possible, try to make contact. The attendant hesitated, then nodded. Yes, my lord, I understand. As they spoke, the battle concluded. The behemoths lay dead, while the hunters methodically cleaned up the battlefield, their faces impassive. Li Mufan, who hadn't lifted a finger, saw the crowd beginning to disperse. He suddenly yelled, "Hey! You guys think you can just walk away without saying hi? Don't make me get nasty." Everyone stopped, turning to stare at Li Mufan, surprised. A middle-aged dwarf asked nervously, "Your Majesty, what do you mean?" Li Mufan grinned. "I just wiped out the behemoth scum, but you still owe me tolls. Plus, there's the price of admission to the show. Let's call it 3 gold coins per person to pass. And don't even think about saying no, got it?" This was highway robbery, plain and simple. Thousands of people were gathered there, and 3 gold coins each was a fortune. Li Mufan clearly had no shame when it came to money. The hunters, having taken down nearly 100 behemoths without a scratch, stood scanning the crowd, crossbows at the ready. Everyone exchanged uneasy glances. Seeing their hesitation, Li Mufan flashed forward, putting his blade to the dwarf's neck. "Give me the money, or I'll carve you up." The dwarf's legs trembled. He pulled a bag of gold coins from his pocket. "My lord, I only have this much." "Take it all." Li Mufan exploded. "Idiot. I said 3 gold coins. Not a copper more. Are you trying to insult me?" "Huh?" The dwarf, confused, quickly pulled out 3 coins. "Here, my lord." Li Mufan snatched the coins, waved his hand, and said with a smile, "All right, you're good to go." Chapter 65, Line Up, One by One. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. The middle-aged dwarf jumped a little, then snapped back to attention, clutching the gold coins. He bolted toward the city like he'd just been pardoned. Mingqing's always been on the level, nobody gets cheated here. Pay up and move on, no hard feelings. Everyone was stunned. It was the first time they'd seen someone so brazenly robbing people. Folks who came to events usually had some cash on them. Seeing how tough Li Mufan looked and the hunter troops aiming repeating crossbows, nobody wanted to be the first to resist. They all figured they'd just pay and get out. All right, line up, pay one at a time. He Yu was going around with a sack, collecting the money, and Li Mufan was still keeping order. This was robbery on a whole new level. "City Lord, should we pay?" The city lord frowned, watching the line of people paying up. After hesitating, he scoffed. "Not worth fighting them right now. Go pay, and find out who he is." "Yes, city lord." Later that day, a big force from the behemoth tribe arrived, but Li Mufan was already gone, strolling into the city carrying several sacks overflowing with gold. Walking down the busy streets of Chaos City, he felt great. He'd made over 10,000 gold coins in half a day. Adding that to the nearly 30,000 he found on the battlefield and the 50,000 he'd brought with him, he was sitting on close to 100,000 gold coins. It gave him some serious confidence. He found a shop, bought a map of Chaos City, and walked out like he owned the place, ignoring the shopkeeper's worried glances. News travels fast in Chaos City. It seemed his reputation for robbing people had already spread. But that was fine. In a place where the strong survive, being feared could prevent a lot of trouble. After studying the map, Li Mufan figured out where to go and led his hunter troops towards a tall building, Yun Pavilion, 2nd floor, a private room. Li Mufan sipped the tea, waiting. Yunlu Pavilion was part of the Yunlu Chamber of Commerce, the biggest and most powerful commerce group in Yunzhou. The Chamber of Commerce had a lot of powerful people working for them, and it was rumored that the president was some kind of spiritual master. The Chamber of Commerce was richer than a small country and had been a force in Yunzhou for centuries. Anyone who messed with them ended up dead. After a few minutes, an old guy from the Snake tribe hurried in. He nodded at Li Mufan and said, "I'm Elder Green Snake, a guest elder of the Chamber of Commerce. I understand you have a high-level monster corpse you're looking to sell. I was hoping to take a look." Li Mufan nodded back, looking the old man over. He looked almost human. You wouldn't know he was a Snake tribe member unless you noticed the faint green scales near his eyes. He smiled and said, "Elder, the water ape beast's body is huge. I doubt it will fit in this room." The old man nodded and gestured. "This way, please." A few minutes later, in an open area in Yunlu Pavilion, the old man was carefully examining the water ape beast's body. "Do you happen to have the magic crystal from this beast?" Li Mufan shook his head. "That's a shame. This beast is definitely at the 9th level of the body refining realm. Normally, a Yinsang water ape beast reaches the 5th level of the body refining realm when it's fully grown. I don't know how it managed to reach this level. It's amazing. If it had a magic crystal, you could sell this beast for a fortune." Now. Li Mufan just smiled, realizing he'd been played by that kid Lu Qin. Chapter 66, A Huge Sum of Money. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. "So, what's this ape worth?" The old guy hesitated, then held up 2 fingers after a beat. 2 million gold coins. Li Mufan grinned, the old man blinked, then chuckled. "Kid, you're pulling my leg. Even a top-tier body refiner's corpse ain't worth that much. 200,000 then. Our guild's willing to shell out 200,000 gold coins for it." Li Mufan knew it wasn't worth 2 million, but 200,000 still surprised him. He didn't expect a beat-up body to fetch that much. A magic crystal must be worth even more. The old man didn't seem to be lowballing him, so he mentally accepted the price. He still acted hesitant. See, the guy who bagged this beast said it was a special breed and its body was valuable after he took the magic crystal. Gave it to me 'cause we hit it off. Truth is, I respect the guy and kinda wanted to keep the corpse as a memento. If I wasn't strapped for cash. Who keeps a dead body as a souvenir? That the old man rolled his eyes, ignoring the last part. This was a high-level monster, the kid must have a powerful backer. After a pause, the old man said, since this mentor of yours is so righteous, I can't be cheap. 250,000 is as high as I can go. Li Mufan knew when to quit pushing and nodded. Deal. 250,000 it is. With the big deal done, Li Mufan pointed to a mountain of monster corpses. Take these two. Magic crystals are here. Have your guy check them out. The old man clapped, and a servant immediately started checking the bodies. Li Mufan had collected these on his way south on the Yinsang River, storing them in the talisman Lu Chun gave him. You selling those weapons too? The old man's eyes flickered as he eyed another pile of armor and weapons. He knew quality when he saw it. These were all above average weapons, and there were a ton of them. In this chaotic world, good gear like this would fetch a premium. Li Mufan smiled. Nah, I'm thinking of auctioning them off. The old man's eyes lit up. The Sky Fox clan's running the auction, but my guild has a stake in it too. If you trust me, you could let my guild handle the auction. What do you say? Li Mufan hesitated. What's your cut? The old man smiled. Guild policy, half the profit on all auctioned items. Li Mufan thought for a second. Alright, you can take them. Excellent, the old man laughed, pleased. A big sale meant a bigger commission. They chatted for a bit, then the servant reported the count was done. The bodies and crystals were worth 38,000 gold coins at market price. The old man rounded it up to 40,000, and everyone was happy. You guys carry storage rings? I'm looking to buy one. Chapter 67, Acting School. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The old man said, a little sheepishly, yeah, but space-related stuff is crazy expensive. We're talking at least 500,000 gold coins. You wouldn't happen to. Li Mufan's face dropped. No way. He had 500,000 gold coins. The old man, sharp as a tack, knew the second he saw his face that Li Mufan was broke. Then he perked up. Say, friend, we got a storage bag in this branch a few years back. Our in-house refiner said some of the magic arrays are busted. Apparently, these bags have been used by you humans for ages. If you could get him to take a look, maybe he could fix it. Oh. Really? Mind if I take a peek, Elder? No problem. A moment later, Li Mufan stared at the palm-sized, yellowed cloth bag in his hand. He looked curious, but inside, he was buzzing. He practiced the Qingyun Xian Dao Ju, charging his body with spiritual energy every day. There was already spiritual power flowing through him. He just barely nudged some of it toward the bag and bam, he saw the secret. Busted array, my foot. It just needs spiritual power to open. Only someone who practiced the Taoist true method could have spiritual power, and that was a human-only thing, lost to Tianhan continent for 10 million years. No way they could open it, but Li Mufan. He frowned. Elder, you sure this beat-up bag is really a storage bag? I can't see anything special. The old man chuckled. The Chamber of Commerce master authenticated it. Genuine article, fair price. Li Mufan stroked his chin. Well, if you say so, must be legit. So, what's the damage, Elder? Name your price. The old man was a little surprised. Could this kid really have a sugar daddy? He hesitated. It cost next to nothing. Just take it. The president's a generous guy. If you run into that, senior again, tell him he's always welcome here. Li Mufan looked awkwardly hesitant, like he was struggling with something. He sighed. In that case, I'll do my best. But that senior's a wanderer. No guarantees I can find him. so don't be surprised if I can't. After that performance, the old man was about 70% convinced. Anyone who could take down a water ape beast had to be at least a master of body refinement, maybe even spiritual realm. If Li Mufan had someone like that in his corner, that was a whole different ballgame. His voice became noticeably warmer. Of course, that kind of master does what he wants. Can't force it. After they'd chatted for a bit, the old man produced a purple gold card and handed it to Li Mufan. The card read Yunlu Chamber of Commerce. Li Mufan recognized it, sort of like an Earth passbook or cashier's check. The Yunlu Chamber of Commerce was a brand that had been around for 1,000 years, so its reputation was solid. The old man smiled. This is our purple gold VIP card. There's 250,000 gold coins on it. You can withdraw the money at any Yunlu branch. Rest assured. Alright, thanks for handling the auction, Elder. Got some stuff to take care of. I'll be going now. The old man personally escorted Li Mufan out of the Chamber of Commerce, acting like they were old buddies. The maids, clerks, and customers were stunned. That's the elder of the Chamber of Commerce. He's, like, nobility. When did he start buddying up with some random human? Soon, rumors spread through Chaos City like wildfire. The Yunlu Chamber of Commerce's Green Snake Elder and that human thief boy were tight. Chapter 68, Big Profit. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. After leaving the Yunlu Chamber of Commerce and saying goodbye to He Yu and the others waiting outside, Li Mufan headed straight for a nearby inn. An hour later, in his inn room, Li Mufan sat cross-legged on the bed, storage bag in hand. He carefully used the faint spiritual energy within him to probe the bag's seals. To his surprise, breaking through the bag's defenses was easier than expected. Perhaps due to its age, the interior space was vast, at least warehouse-sized. Incredible, considering most storage tools held barely a few square feet, not thousands. Jackpot, thought he grinned, noticing a pile of items tucked in a corner. Reaching in, he scattered a dozen or so objects onto the bed. Among them were an ancient book, 7 bottles, 8 white beads, a token of unknown material, and a pile of stones gleaming with various colors. Spirit stones. Li Mufan recognized them instantly. As a Taoist practitioner, how could he not? And these are high grade. Holy cow. Spirit stones were rare on Tianhan continent, used to replenish spiritual power and magic. That's why they were also called magic stones. Compared to the bag of magic stones Lu Chen had given him, these were a serious upgrade. Looks like I'm set for training resources for a while. His cultivation required absorbing the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, and these high-grade spirit stones were perfect for speeding things up. He put the spirit stones back into the storage bag and turned his attention to the 7 bottles. A moment later, his joy was overflowing. He only recognized the elixir in 1 bottle, but it was enough. Dingyan pills. 1 bottle held 20 of these pills. Their rarity and miraculous anti-aging effects made them incredibly expensive and practically impossible to find. Who doesn't want to stay young? Especially women. This was a pill that would drive them wild. As for the other elixirs, he didn't recognize them, but given the presence of Dingyan pills, they were likely valuable as well. He could identify them later by checking the elixir texts. Happily stowing away the elixirs, Li Mufan picked up the token and the 8 white beads, examining them briefly. Finding nothing of interest, he put them away as well. Opening the ancient book, he discovered a body refining technique written in several ancient languages called Tian Lei Physique Refining Technique. Just a few pages in, he was hooked. The technique focused on breaking down and rebuilding, attracting lightning to temper every muscle and bone. While dangerous and increasingly difficult, mastering it would extend lifespan, grant invulnerability, and allow one to withstand lightning strikes, making the practitioner incredibly powerful. Notes on cultivation experience from a monk named Gu Langchen were also included. Li Mufan read with fascination until it was night. Ding dong, the ring world system is activated. Host, please prepare. After a moment of confusion, he remembered it was time to enter the space. Taking a deep breath, his vision went dark, and he entered the ring world. Chapter 69 Mission completed. huge reward. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ding dong, second mission's up. We found 36,198 people in your territory with over 60 loyalty, that's 12 times what we asked for. Ding dong, you scored 24 follower cards. Ding dong, you scored 24 item cards. Ding dong, you scored 2 summoning cards. Ding dong, you got 700,000 silver. Ding dong, you crushed the mission by tenfold, so here's a random hidden reward. Ding dong, hidden reward activated. All colonists in your territory get a 1-level strength boost. The notifications hit him like a tidal wave as soon as he warped into the space. 12 times the reward. That sent shivers down his spine. Sweet. 24 cards. 700,000 silver. Are you kidding me? Li Mufan whooped with glee. This haul would boost his Mingqing's strength to a whole new level. He took a deep breath, trying to dial down his excitement. He plopped onto the entertainment room sofa and thought, system, let's do those item cards first, asterisk ding dong, asterisk you got, marble bricks x100. Iron tire bow x5. Herbs x20. Basic prosthetic limb x1. After pulling a dozen pieces of junk in a row, Li Mufan bolted upright, asterisk ding dong, asterisk you got, plasma lightsaber x1. Lightsaber. Yes. Plasma lightsaber, that he threw his head back and laughed. This thing was one of the most badass melee weapons in the ring world. Lightweight and retractable, it packed a high-temp punch. Get hit, and you'd be feeling the burn. Seriously powerful, like the Jedi's lightsabers in Star Wars, some next-level tech, asterisk ding dong, asterisk you got, EMP grenades x100. Ding dong, you got, 2 unmanned automatic machine guns. All 24 item cards were gone. Aside from the lightsaber and the machine guns, the rest was pretty much trash. But Li Mufan wasn't complaining. He had a storage bag, so he just stuffed it all in. He jumped in the shower and changed clothes, ready to use the summoning cards. If he had an altar, he'd be burning incense and praying for a civil official. Ding dong, you summoned, Lu Zhishan, the flower monk. Lu Zhishan, strength, body refining realm, level 2. Commander, 78. Politics, 16. Strategy, 35. Skill, frenzy, when severely provoked, Lu Zhishan loses control of his emotions and gets a 20% strength boost while frenzied. Seriously? Another water margin character, Li Mufan groaned. Sure, he dabbled in banditry, but he didn't want to be a full-time outlaw. Whatever. Ruda's stats are still decent. He can definitely lead the infantry. Point 1 summoning card left. Li Mufan was getting nervous, asterisk ding dong, asterisk you summoned, Xuanhuan. Xuanhuan, strength, ordinary, anyone who hasn't entered the body refining realm is considered ordinary, commander, 61. Politics, 92. Strategy, 80. Skill, tolerance, Xuanhuan is kind and always smiles, putting everyone at ease. Subordinates' work efficiency increases by 5%, asterisk ding dong, asterisk Xuanhuan and Lu Zhishan will be arriving at your territory soon. Be ready. Xuanhuan. Yes. Finally, a decent civil servant to back me up. He might not be Zhuge Liang, or a seasoned genius like Wang Meng. Li Mufan was thrilled with the arrival of Xuanhuan. Now with 700,000 more silver and 24 follower cards to burn, it was time to go big, he bellowed, Xuanhuan. Where the heck are you? Chapter 70 Jinyiwei. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Xuanhuan, tell everyone to drop what they're doing and start cranking out those standard armor sets. Make sure they follow my blueprints. Got it, boss. Li Mufan had been wanting to upgrade the personal guard battalion's uniforms for a while, but he was always strapped for cash. Now that he was sitting on a cool 700,000, he could finally put some of his ideas into action. His plan was to build a super-elite Jinyiwei unit based on the old personal guard battalion. They'd be responsible for enforcing the law domestically, backing up his authority, and fighting in external wars. Unlike the Hunter Unit Special Ops, this unit, while technically his personal army, would have a broader range of duties. They'd be a force to be reckoned with, superior to regular troops, and a cornerstone of his power, and since they were the Jinyiwei, their weapons and equipment had to look the part, like something out of the Ming dynasty. He'd already designed the Faiyufu, flying fish uniform, Zaya Chundo, brocade spring blade, and Mangpeo, python robe. As soon as the cash was available, they could start production. Thanks to the advanced workshop in the ring world and the colonists' skilled craftsmanship, the equipment they made was far superior to anything he could get on the outside. Xuanhuan, tell them to start with 300 sets for the first batch. No need to rush, just make sure the quality is top-notch. Yes sir. No worries, boss, we'll get it done. He gave Xuanhuan a light pat on the shoulder. After working with her for a while, he'd realized that even though she was a bit of a slacker who loved watching TV, she always got the job done and kept the base running smoothly. She was a real find. If he ever brought her to the outside world, she'd be an invaluable assistant. But that wasn't in the cards just yet. Currently, there were 20 colonists in the ring world, all recruited after capturing prisoners in previous raids. Li Mufan was picky about who he brought in. Anyone with bad traits got sold off, so the ones who remained were a decent bunch. Mingqing needed development, and so did the ring world base. This time, instead of jumping straight into training, Li Mufan carefully planned the base's future growth. 8 days later, after handing a base development plan to Xuanhuan, who was, of course, watching TV, Li Mufan gave her detailed instructions and retreated to his room to focus on his training. Seeing how strong Lu Chen and his sister had become gave him a sense of urgency. A force without a master was a force going nowhere. 2 days later, darkness closed in, and Li Mufan's consciousness returned to his body. It was late at night. Unable to sleep, Li Mufan opened his door and strolled out of his room, hands clasped behind his back. The inn was one of the most famous in the City of Chaos, known for its beautiful gardens and luxurious accommodations. The early spring night was filled with the promise of new life. A gentle breeze rustled through the garden path, a mix of warm and cool. Up ahead, a girl in a purple dress was squatting by a flower bed, seemingly searching for something. Could it be? Li Mufan was taken aback. Even though he only saw her profile, he recognized her. It was Qin Shui, the little princess of the Yunqin Empire. He remembered seeing her from a distance when the vassal states came to Yunda City to pay their respects to the emperor. He hadn't seen her in years and didn't expect to run into her here. The princess was known for being headstrong and spoiled, and Li Mufan wasn't one to go looking for trouble. He was about to turn and leave when a black cat darted across the path, creating a bit of a commotion. Who's there? A girl's voice called out. A human. Qin Shui turned around, saw Li Mufan, and her face lit up. Perfect timing. You can help me find something.